All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Cymatics Show. We have Bonnie X Clyde here today. What up?
What's up?
Way to say it right. I love you.
I actually was consciously thinking after that thing. I would have definitely said Bonnie and Clyde. But yeah, thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having us. We're really happy to be here. We love you guys.
This is our first 4-person show, so hopefully,
this is awesome.
Hopefully Alex can keep up on switching to everybody because it's going to be a bit tough.
Is it called a foursome? Is that what that's called?
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
Is that what my DM should say to people with duos? Like, hey, you trying to come out for a foursome Cymatics? We're like, what? No, that's funny. Dude, the search results thing that you guys were just talking about, though, to fix that, to beat Bonnie and Clyde, dude, you got to, the website, you have to build links. You got to do all kinds of
But that's hard to do as an artist. Like, what are they going to have link backs
That's
for?
why
we have so
we put
many
the
link
X.
backs for all of our, random shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or even the more people Google your name, the more you'll start to, rank over it. But, dude, that shit's tough. I didn't even think about that.
No, but that's why we did the X, is because if you just type Bonnie and Clyde in, you don't, we're not the only things that pop up by any means. It's all kinds of stuff, movies,
But you search Bonnie X Clyde and it's the only thing you find.
And you just see this beautiful face. And all
Have you guys ever seen the artist that'll do something weird in their name and there's no chance of getting it? Like the weird symbol or something, and you're just like,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
so stupid.
How do you do-
Or the people
so
that
many
put the
artists like
V's for the U's
Yeah,
or
that's
all that
super
stuff.
common.
I mean, I catch on, but it's
It's cool, but it's
Yeah.
hard for the user. You know what I'm saying?
definitely.
Or the numbers that are in the name.
Yeah, 7
Yeah.
instead of
Yeah, but it also made some people too. I feel like Blau wouldn't be Blau without it looking like a 3
Oh,
because
that's
people
true.
are like, is it a 3? Is
But
it
the
a
thing
B?
is, I called him 3 Lau for the longest time.
I did too for a little.
For 2 years, I called him 3 Lau.
It was
and
always
then I
really
heard
hard for me
it
to look
said-
him up.
Dead Mall 5.
But I
Yeah,
you know how many Dead Mall 5 people
Dead
still
Mouse
call
isn't
that?
too bad of one, I think.
But people say Dead Mall 5.
No, they do.
I've heard
they
it,
do.
definitely.
It's kind of.
But I think it actually can help. It creates this little
Layer of discovery with the project where you
Right.
have you're able to have that revelation moment of, oh, it's called this, rather than being like, oh, it's that, and then that's that.
You know-
It's
and it
another
gives you more to talk about.
You know what helped us
You
a ton? .fm instead of .com. It's the weirdest branding thing. Every time
that.
people see .fm, it's just
What does FM mean?
It's just it's another
Dude, it's
URL.
no, but it's it's
dot
like-
FM,
Yeah, it doesn't really
a
mean
radio
anything.
It's just
station.
cool. No one else
It sounds
has
like radio or FM synthesis, but
Yeah.
it literally is like the Federation of Morocco or some crazy country that uses
Hosts-
FM
has
as
a
their,
hosting thing.
Yeah, .us. It's
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
cool for music because it just looks cool.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Dude, the cool thing about it too is that we would, when people would post about us on Facebook, they wouldn't say Cymatics, they'd say Cymatics.fm, which would link to our website every time.
Yeah.
So we probably got
Yeah.
100,000 links over time.
Dude,
just
that's
people
a
posting
secret
it.
trick. Yeah,
That's
if your
great.
Facebook name has a .fm or .com, anytime they tag you on Facebook,
It actually links to
it
the
links to your
too.
website. It's like
Wow.
and you build hella backlinks. It's like a bunch of it was a crazy trick.
so great.
yeah.
Y'all should tell us a story about the Porsche, because I'm dying to know about that.
Yeah.
Because that's a...
It is a great story.
Okay.
Quick
so-
backstory: they rolled up in a sweet Porsche, and I was like, "Where'd you guys get that thing?" I'm like, first thing I thought.
So the story on this car is basically, long story short, we won it in a raffle. But the long story-ish is that I was at home 4 months ago, and I was talking to my mom about how I wanted to just get a new car. I had a car for a while. I wanted lease some sort of drop top. I'm in LA. I want something cool. I wanted a convertible.
Mom, I want a sports car.
No, not a sports car. Just something cool. I don't know what I wasn't even going that deep. And she was like, just hold off on all that.
Yeah.
I put in for this raffle. If we win the car, you can just have it. I'm not going to drive this car or whatever. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So anyway.
It was like a joke though, kind of.
So 4 days, not
win
4
this
days later,
car.
I forgot that she said this. She reminded me when she called me on the phone later. She's like, oh, I'm going to the thing tonight. If I win the car, it's yours. She reminded me the day of,
That's
whatever.
crazy.
And then.
But it's a raffle of 700 or more people.
Yeah.
No,
That's one of our giveaways, people counting on that to win.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
whatever. And I just get a call from my dad and my cousin, and
They're all blowing
all at
him
one
up.
time, yo, we won the car. What the heck?
His mom's screaming I want that car. And I was literally freaking out no
And-
way.
But the coolest background story about the car and the charity is that my Aunt Michelle, before she died, she was the type of lady that was the life that would bring all the rich people together for charity functions, and she was the catalyst to a lot of people coming together for good causes or whatever. So when she was diagnosed with colon cancer, she became heavily involved with this charity organization, the Colon Cancer Alliance of America, and so she was part of that for 2 years. And then the year after she died was the charity auction, the charity event, gala, whatever, dinner.
That was close.
and like we got the car, and another one of my cousins got a crazy Rolex off the whole thing. Like
It was weird. It was like,
it's like
his
weird. Like
aunt
my
blessed
aunt
him.
let's
you get a
that's
Porsche.
That's luck of the draw.
It's
That is.
wild.
she's also the aunt that was married to my uncle. Well, she's by blood, he's by marriage, but he actually, when I was 16, he's the dude that for my birthday got me my first pair of decks. Like they were that like aunt uncle combo. They were like the
Always
party
hooking you up?
people.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they were just like dope. That's the best way I can describe it.
That's crazy, dude. The
Yeah.
same thing happened at one of our events recently. So essentially, this kid's walking out, and he knows my sister. They went to school together. He's just a producer showing up to come hang out. He's walking out. My sister says, "Hey, why don't you stay for the giveaway?" He's like, I guess. Dude wins a pair of Yamahas. He's like, and he's like, yeah. He's like getting fired up and stuff. But it was just raining. He was about to walk out of the building.
Dude, you gotta make sure you're there because the first time we did a giveaway at our event, there was like I think like 3 or 4 people got called and they didn't show up. They bought tickets, they
Wow.
didn't show up, and they didn't win pairs.
People really don't
$400
think.
speakers.
People
that,
love when they
you
don't
know.
call the name, though.
I know. They
I know,
start
people are like,
cheering. People are like, yes,
Yeah.
next
Keep
person.
it going. Yeah. So I think something that'd be really cool for the Cymatics people to hear is like you guys' story about like first linking up, working at, I think it was school, right? When you guys were still in school and started
Yeah,
working
yeah.
together. And you guys were doing the Skype thing because
Yeah.
so many people complain about like distant, where they live and stuff. And I think you guys
Yeah.
are like definition of like just made it happen through like long distance and stuff.
Yeah, well, I think a huge part of that was I had no idea how to produce in Ableton, and Daniel like knew if he taught me Ableton, it would just change everything for us. So yeah, my senior year of college, his senior year of college too, we just were on Skype. I was at Virginia Tech.
2014 into 15.
Yeah, he was at University of Miami, and we got this program. It was called
She
like
could
Share
control
Screen.
my mouse.
Yeah,
I think it's called
and
Share Screen.
like that, and like we were just like
And we would
flip-flop.
control each other's mouses. It was actually really cool. There was
Wow,
obviously
that
some
is
technical
awesome.
Made a couple
difficulties,
songs
but
that way. Nothing that actually got released at that time, but it was all
Yeah.
like development of what was, because we didn't actually have the brand in mind at that time. We just knew that we were like working on music and that graduation, college was ending, and we wanted to do something. But by the end, we started to be like, okay, what's this brand? Like, what are we really about to like graduate and be like, this is what we're doing
Yeah.
right now.
But the summer before our senior year, we knew that if we didn't do something our senior year to prepare for when we graduated, that we'd be just like anyone else graduating. And like at the time, I had a lot of friends in sororities and all these things, and they were all planning to like go back home, and it genuinely freaked me
Just
out.
like
I
no
was
plan,
like,
you know what I mean? No plan. It's like, I'll
Yeah.
figure it out. I don't really know what I'm doing. Maybe I'll go back. Maybe I'll get this job. And we were just like, as soon as we graduated, well, that last month of before graduation and the end of college, I called Paige and I was like, psst, Bonnie and Clyde, like, it's gonna work. Like, I just see it. Like, I
We
closed my
had, like-
eyes and I just saw like the silhouette of the female and the male with the white screen behind it, and I was just like, I see that. Like, I see it working, and I just like saw the future, like, you know what I mean? Like real
Yeah.
quick, and I was like, we got to do this. Like, it's gonna work. And literally, like the next day, I wrote this like big business plan, like probably 10 pages about like how we were gonna do it, the order, why it was gonna work, like the whole thing. And I literally
Yeah.
like when we finished school, I literally go to my parents. I'm like, this is what I'm about to do. I just like
both of our parents are kind of like, show us what's good,
Totally
because
get it,
we
yeah.
were
Yeah.
talking to our parents the whole time, but our parents are both from the same area. They're kind of like similar in that they're like, show me what you're gonna do and I'll be about it. So we really laid it all out for them. Like,
So they gave us some
Exactly.
time, in the sense where they weren't like like get a job.
yeah, they were like,
We
we'll
were like-
help you
'cause
out
we
a
had
little, but yeah, then we ended up living in like this really.
So we had a month left in our lease in August after graduation. We stayed in Virginia for like 2 months, made our first song, which was The Ride. And that was like the first time, that was when we were actually at home, like, cause after we graduated from school, we hung out at home for 6 weeks, like our hometown, before we went back to Miami, because I had a month left on the lease. Made the song, had some resonation on SoundCloud. We're like, oh snap, like now it's something's happening. And then when we went to Miami, we were able to like show this song to like the people that I knew there, and we were able to play like Mad Decent Block Party, and we closed for Bro Safari, and we played on this other tour. We were like back to back to back shows every weekend, just from like.
And this is, keep in mind, like when I really did not know how to DJ.
Wait, is this just like you guys just put out one song by yourself? Did you have management help?
No,
at
nothing.
That point?
No, like I had.
Just us on SoundCloud.
Who'd you talk
we
to?
Had
Who was it that you knew?
for what?
Like when you went down to Miami, you said you showed. some
Okay,
people your music.
so basically, like I went to University of Miami. So when I was before Bonnie and Clyde, before I was even doing anything with Paige, I used to play shows all over Miami. So through that experience, I just like knew the right players in Miami to show, to be like, yo, I have something that I really believe in right now. And
some guys that like do some low-key bookings and
actually the first Bonnie and Clyde show ever was right towards the end of college, maybe like the last week of college or something, because I had figured out the brand and I wanted to get the brand on a bill. I wanted it to be like on something so I could be like, so it was when Slander and Nightmare were first coming up. So we were, well, she wasn't even there. I was just needed the name on a bill. Like I needed just something. I was like, don't worry about getting there. It's all about the name.
It was so funny.
So it was like
I
Slander
can't
and
play
Nightmare and me. And I remember going up to Scott and Derek, who like, they're like our brothers now. Like we love them and so much love. Anyway, I showed him the logo that we had at the time with a picture with Bonnie X Clyde and the whole thing. He's like, bro, that's gonna work. Like that was like the first.
Before that though.
Maybe like years
that's
before,
why he, like really
way
liked
before,
it.
But he and that like conversation with him like really helped give me a lot of like confidence in like the project and in general, and like not that I didn't feel good about it or anything like that, but I was like, oh, if somebody, you know, at the time, oh, Slander, man, like, you know, they're blowing up. I mean, they're huge, they're blown out, but regardless, it's like some good like gratification, like solidification. What's the word I'm looking for? Like validation. Thank you. Validation on like this was a good idea. And so then going into summer, the song, whatever, when we went back to Miami, it was Jason Shaw at Electric Love, who's the guy in Miami that throws a lot of shows.
Love Jason.
Yeah,
Great
he's
guy.
been a supporter from the beginning. And like I said, the string of shows, and that string of shows got the attention of.
He's also like a manager without being a manager. Just always gave us great advice and was like trying to fit us in.
Advisor in the game, knew everybody.
Yeah.
But
you skipped a whole part.
Which part?
So before we were Bonnie and Clyde, we went through a bunch of names, like Hansel and Gretel. Like there were a bunch of names.
like the actual. She's talking about the actual process of
he's
going through the list of
a little
names,
longer.
like all the names that with the potential names.
Like obviously when we got Bonnie and Clyde, we
before
wrote
Bonnie and Clyde,
plan,
like Bonnie and Clyde was always on the list, but it wasn't. It was like not.
There were a bunch of other names that were semi thought about.
The worst, Brangelina.
Oh, there were some really. People said, what was another one?
Dude,
Brangelina could have been huge.
What Brangelina could have been?
Honestly, just think of like the most
huge.
epic guy-girl
I
duo
like
names, and we
Bonnie
probably
X Clyde.
considered it for a second. And then Bonnie X Clyde, like after doing research, and at the time, we were really heavily into trap music. Like even though I've been a singer forever, I was like, I want to go hard, trap, all that stuff. And like Mad Decent, all that stuff was popping. Diplo was heavily, you know, coming up with like all kinds of trap stuff. And the Bonnie and Clyde, you know, them being criminals and all that stuff worked with like our whole hard trap brand.
Yeah.
And it just worked at the time. And we really felt it. And that's why we really ran with it. Because like, yeah, when we saw like the guy-girl thing, and even still, like there really isn't like a guy-girl duo like in the space we're at that's like kind of
It's really not.
do
I
what
can't
we're
say
Like
doing.
the last one I can really
doing.
think of is like Corella and Nero.
Yeah, and they
Or
broke
Luna
up.
George.
Right, but Cruella's
Luna George is
not
good, but they're not
guy-girl
really doing
anymore.
like the dance. They're
Yeah,
kind of
they're
like
not doing
more like
dance music.
indie
It's-
pop
Yeah.
oriented. But there is some dance.
You know what's
Like-
funny about
for
Luna
sure.
George? It's like when you hear the name, you think
Love
it's just a
Luna
girl.
George.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
one bad
You hear
thing
the
about their
voice?
brand. I feel like it's.
Well, they also
people-
branded with the guy in the background like heavily.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do brand it like that.
Which is not necessarily bad.
No.
you know?
No,
It's
no.
the brand. Luna George feels like a girl's name.
Yeah, it feels like a girl's name.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first
It's
thing
also, I
thought.
think, there's a reason behind it. I think they want her to be the
face
you know,
of
the
it,
star.
honestly.
Yeah. But no, I
Paige
love-
loves photo shoots because she just like takes the center of the frame and then like, so let's take a step back, take a step back, take a step back.
Actually,
and then I'm
Daniel,
out of
can you-
focus and she's like, perfect.
Well, it's super funny. Like a lot of people don't know, but when he was spending, you know, I don't know, 10 years just being a DJ before we met up, like I was a singer who also was trying to like get into like acting and modeling and stuff. So like I just have this whole other background aside from music that I think helps us a lot.
Oh, for sure.
You know, you're a model now. No, but it does, you know.
Do you think it helps a lot that like you have vocals? Like,
Yeah.
that you're a singer, because I think a lot of the producer acts and stuff like that's one missing link that there's not like
Yeah.
that vocal thing that I think the masses connect with so much better. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I actually find it interesting because I've just been a singer for so long, and a lot of these producers that I'm like, because this is such a small industry, everyone's comparing everyone, whether everyone wants to believe it or not, and I'm heavily compared to like a lot of just producers who don't sing but are trying to sing because they like think that it's going to help their brand. And I think that's so dope, but it's just interesting that I'm, you know, compared to that just because you're in this duo, that's a production DJ
Yeah.
thing. But it's just wild because where I come from is so different. Like I'm so vocal first like with everything, like even with my production process, like everything happens for me vocally first. And
Do y'all record a lot of stuff at home? Is that where do you
Yeah.
record most of the time?
Yeah, at
House,
home, a
yeah.
lot.
Only home or like
No,
studios too?
studios too.
I mean, we recently signed to Ultra Records.
Yeah.
So like we've gone to a handful of studios with them where we've recorded with them. But generally, yeah, we have a Telefunken AR-51 microphone with
Which
a
is so great.
Apollo Duo interface.
Do you do anything to treat the room, or is it mostly?
Oh, I have
Yeah.
we have the whole room treated, and we
Spent, like-
do it on top of a carpet, and we try to be as conscious of the noise as possible and turn off the AC.
I think a lot of people use
the
that
lights
excuse
buzz,
for
turn off the
vocals.
lights.
Like I don't have a studio to use, so I'm not going to record them, but you can do it at home.
Definitely.
Oh my
Dude,
gosh.
Arya, I remember seeing an Arya YouTube video like 2 years ago or something where he made "Are You Okay?" and it was literally him
yeah.
on voice notes with his brother just saying, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?"
Yeah.
And then like making this one of my favorite songs.
No,
honestly.
some of our like bigger songs were made off of like a voice memo thing, and a lot of the time, the most creative stuff happens when we're not in the studio, and then I like bring it to the studio.
Not the recording in the voice memo, not the voice memo recording in the song, just like the inspiration. I
The
think she's talking
idea.
about.
Yeah,
but they're
but,
talking
like-
about the physical recording, I think.
Well, Rise Above wasn't that?
It was just in a
Oh,
bedroom.
Oh, so you guys just ripped that
Yeah, like a lot of our old stuff comes from voice memo stuff. Not like fully ripped, but like in a way. There's some glitchy like vocal chops and stuff. Honestly, when you voice memo stuff, sometimes with the vocal chopping, it sounds cooler because it's like more distorted.
Yeah, more
and-
character.
I've seen
Yeah.
like Dioro. I think he did what was Melbourne Bounce. He did the pre-drop vocal on voice notes.
Yeah.
On that
Did
one.
he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did a little production video on that.
I always say that like if I were to die, like you took my voice memos, you'd find someone. Like my voice memos is like my diary of life. I'm sure that's that way for a lot of vocals.
I don't use
but-
voice memos at all, pretty much for anything.
Oh my gosh, guys, it's magical.
You're more about voice message.
You know the time you spend like
I send you voice
noting.
messages all the time.
Yeah.
It's
The
'cause
time
it's-
you spend noting.
No, it's
though,
quicker.
Oh,
I get
yeah.
it.
Could be voice memo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so much easier just to send somebody like a voice message. You know what I'm saying? Plus, there's
Yeah.
no shit. Sometimes I make awkward jokes when I'm messaging people, and I'm like, I fuck around a lot, but then people don't get it on the other side. So
When they're texting.
yeah, when I'm
Yeah,
texting,
yeah.
because I'm fuck around 99% of the time. So then they like get this awkward like, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know what to
Yeah.
say.
Like I remember
The funniest was that one guy.
Yeah, this guy Jeff. It was funny. He's working with San Holo, so they're coming to town. We were doing a collab on a bunch of stuff, and Jeff texted me. He's like, "Hey, I'm getting you guys on the list for the show because we went to go watch the show when he was playing." And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Sweet, just get these 4 names." I was like, "Yeah, all we need is a limo and 2 security guards and a couple champagne bottles." And I was just fucking around with him. Like,
I thought you were dead ass serious.
yeah, but I said in the dead ass series, he's like, "Let me check for that for you," and he's like. I'm sorry, man. I don't think we can accommodate that. Blah blah.
I actually asked about it.
You think I'm asking for a fucking limo, bro? We'll ride down, you know?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so, so I think another interesting thing, like, dude, that's a fast come up. Like, you're talking releasing song, showing people, opening up for people, you know what I'm saying? Instantly kind of going into it. What were the next step that you think really started to build your fan base? Like, was it a string of releases?
Well, I do want to mention, just while we were on the topic of like our first show, because aside from the first Daniel just showing up and I wasn't there, us being billed on the slander kind of show, we had this show. Well, we had multiple shows where like it was kind of the process of Daniel still teaching me how to DJ because he's been DJing at this time for like 10 years. So Daniel's really good, and he's trying to teach me while we're like also getting gigs. And I'll never forget this one show we played.
Closing for Bro Safari at Grand Central.
It was
Same that month, that August
2014?
month, that summer, that where we had the 4 shows, 4
Yeah,
weekends thing, like
Yeah.
with our only month left in Miami.
Yeah, and we go to perform, and it was the time when we like didn't have management, but we were getting. I just was a horrible DJ, and I'll never forget. That was the one time I got off stage, and I said to myself, "I will never DJ again until I know everything about."
I remember
the
looking
CDJs.
over at Jason Shaw, or like the promoter, Jason Shaw, at the time, and he was just like,
He was like,
What happened?
He was like, "She's not
nothing.
learning
It
how
was
to
just
DJ."
train wrecking things.
Daniel
whatever,
saving it.
just-
He's like,
dude, whatever
No, it was just like
was.
I wasn't aware of everything
Definitely
involving the
wasn't
CDJs.
clean.
Like I had only had like maybe 2 or 3 lessons of him like showing me some stuff. But I'm not kidding. It taught me so much, and thankfully it was like we were closing and all that stuff. But it taught me so much. I was like, I'm never gonna. I went home and I was like, that's why I don't know if you guys are aware, but at the beginning of our career, we used to like DJ live all the time. Like we had
on
like, these
Facebook, like
little-
once a week, we did like 10 of them.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, it became a thing
Or
that
every
people
other week or
loved.
something.
But it was almost where, I know we did a bunch of them, and I felt we were oversaturating ourselves a little bit because, there's something about I think that's cool.
It's also draining to make a new mix every week of new music, different music, and
That's
like
gotta be tough.
I'm like, bro, I'm trying to work on music. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to like.
It
I
was
mean,
a
I
lot.
like finding new music and putting in mixes and stuff, but I'm not trying to do that like I wake up
Yeah.
on Monday and was like tripping on like the mix because like we got more
Yeah.
busy, so it's like when you're just chilling and you're like, oh, I have the one show once a week to pay the bills. We had like a residency in Palm Beach at this place called Lux, and we'd drive up there and they give us a hotel room and we'd make
was so
$500,
funny.
and that's literally how we paid the rent. We lived in a room. We lived in one room together for $500 a month for like the first year of this project in like the hood, like to where
was
kids were
like-
coming up on our porch like in the back and like robbed our friends with guns. There's like a crack
Like,
house
had,
on
like-
the corner.
it was
like
crazy
really crazy
stuff.
shit. Like then I had
Like Ice Cube on the street rolling up in like his bike.
like for real.
was wild.
Just talking about Iceberg. I think Iceberg, some rapper from South Miami. Regardless, it was like not the
Oh,
vibe.
yeah, maybe not
like,
as
where
cool
we
as
were.
Ice Cube.
And that's what happened. So you're talking about the next part is after that month of playing those shows and being like, Florida is where we need to be. Virginia, there's none of this stuff.
Yeah.
Or around DC.
We couldn't play as many shows.
Not
in DC.
nearly.
There was, like,
And so at the same time, we were making the song called Rise Above. And I remember we finished the song, and then we sent it to Andre. Trap Nation Andre?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he was at whatever the conference is in Amsterdam at the time. So he was like
AE.
just going to
ADE.
bed.
Or AD.
ADE, yeah, just going to bed.
Oh my
And we
God.
sent him the link, and like literally 2 minutes later, he responded to us.
Yeah.
Or like 3 minutes later, he's like, I love this. I'm just going to bed. I'm gonna hit you guys up tomorrow. Like, and we remember
Love
we're
the
just
Andre
like
boys.
friend of this guy. Thankful that he responded to our friend request.
Did you already know him?
No,
Oh, so
didn't know him
cool.
out
No, this
cold.
was our
Like-
first,
like boom, like check this out, bro. Like
Yeah.
first one, and he was like, I love it. Whatever. Hit us up the next day. He's like, we're gonna hit this thing with an upload, and like at that point, that's like the biggest thing ever.
For us,
You know
we were
what I'm
like,
saying?
no way.
Our
Trap
first song
Nation.
was maybe at like
It was so cool.
150,000 streams on. It wasn't even on Spotify. It was just on
yeah,
SoundCloud.
Just on SoundCloud.
I mean,
Like-
back in the day, it wasn't. There were
Yeah.
no
You know-
Spotify.
Back,
There's no tune
3-4
chorus, just
years
all
ago.
free. And so then we uploaded it as we Rise Above was like rolling out, and we knew about this Trap Nation thing, and we were playing a couple more shows and building. People started to like in Florida area kind of like hear our name a little bit more. This other our old manager like just caught attention, and he was like, "This is sick. Like I want to pick you guys up," and the whole thing. And he had the right connections and the right vision to help turn what we had and get us like on the road. And it started with a 10-show tour around Florida. We played 10 cities around Florida and just drove around like 1 month, 3 cities, drove back to Miami, then went out. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
So
like
did
in
We
you
advance.
covered
that?
all of Florida.
Did you do that off one release?
That was off Rise Above.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome. I think more people need to do that,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
It was cool. I also think it's weird how many different ways you can go about it, because now looking back, I think there is something special about like having a ton of music and like, I don't know, really forming everything and then, popping
Well, it's
out
much
like
it's much different, man. Like, we're not over here making 50 grand a show on our first tour. We're
Right, we
sitting
need to
here
make money.
hustling
At
to
least
play
you're making
rooms.
money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was definitely a way. I mean, we needed to make money, and our parents were like,
We need
we're
to
not
get the
giving you money.
exposure, and we need to help tell the story. Like that's definitely a thing. Is like telling a story is especially in the beginning of your career is more important than you making money.
So what tip would you? Because I think a lot more people need to do this. So what tip would you give newer
Wow.
producers who should start getting the shows? Because I think, for example, you guys are almost like feeling just, hey, we need a DJ, and hey, let's use this time for our act and stuff like that. Because it's early on, you got to
Yeah.
sell them on the idea,
Well, something I think that was really important that Daniel's always just like told me is like being on the decks. The more you're on the decks, the better you're going to be on the decks. And that's why, like when I mentioned us doing the live streams, that really helped me and got me like so fluid. Practice makes perfect.
Because we
like,
did not want to fuck up on Facebook
Yeah,
Live, and we never did.
we never
We
did.
never fucked up on Facebook Live.
but I
once.
also-
it was
That's
so
amazing.
funny.
whether people like want to think that so or not, like it was all like live mixing. Like there was no like, I know how to DJ. We both know how to DJ. So it's not like you press play or whatever.
Yeah.
So I got to a point where I felt really confident behind the decks. And then, like we got with our management, and I'm trying to tie back to where we were.
So at that
after
point,
were
we
DJing a lot.
I think before this tour,
Oh yeah.
now that I'm thinking before the tour, but it was all off the same release because we were like, but like the production process was just slower. Like, we're just like trying to figure out the next release, trying to figure out the vision of the project, like trying to figure out everything. Cause it wasn't this thing where we had like this sonic vision for Bonnie and Clyde and we're just go. It was like, we know Bonnie and Clyde is something cool that we can build off of. And we know it's a cool brand that we could start playing shows now and like building now. But we're still like in discovery mode as far as like what we really wanted to do with like our show and stuff. So it was just like getting off the ground.
I wanted to mention, wait, really quick. Sorry, because now I remember you were talking about how you said like you want a lot of other DJs to do this. I feel like if they're going to do this, like, want to play shows because they like love the song they're making or whatever, I just think that they need to like really practice, because if immediately like the first show you get, big, small, whatever, there's going to be people there that are going to see you and you're going to start to, have a reputation. You always just want to be clean. Like you want it to be, I feel like as soon as you hop on the map, like you want to put out your best everything.
Especially when you're getting started, it's like, it's not as much about your music that you're playing and more about like, just like throwing a good party. Because that's what's going to get people to like keep booking you. I want you to come, like, maybe your first fee is like $100, then your next fee is $250. But then people are like, yo, because you throw such a good party, I want to throw you on the Friday night here for $500. And just that one gig and having that consistent, like, because you can throw a party or whatever, like that can be the foundation of what was the foundation of our whole thing. So I would say like people be like, oh, just focus on production, which it's definitely important. Like great music speaks all day. And I think that's super important. But as far as the DJ game is concerned and really getting started and, being sustainable early in your career, it's all about throwing a good party.
It's better than having a regular job.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Like a regular job for 8 hours and then hustling it. You'd rather have something at least that's congruent, you know what I'm saying? Like Kyle was talking about doing production lessons like this shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How do you get in the door?
Oh, I had that too. I've had a kid that I mentored and
Yeah.
during that time, and that helped get us through that time as well. What's up?
How do you get in the door with it? Like, who are you talking to? Like, when you go to
guys
start
booking.
getting booked, you got
Like right now,
The
Jordan
event
just
guys.
released a song.
You start as a promoter,
Jordan
bro.
wants to go on
Yeah.
tour right
Jordan
now.
he wants to get some shows. He just released a couple
He's gonna
tracks.
DJ.
So what's your market?
He's in Atlanta.
Okay, so Atlanta's
Atlanta.
like
Oh my
it has like 2 venues. It has District and Ravine. So I would go to either one of those or both of them and promote the Thursday here, promote the Friday there. Like just getting in the door, because at some point these people are gonna be like, yo, we need an opener. And then when they see you open and you kill the party, then they're gonna be like, oh, this is a real thing. Like this.
So just that in-person networking?
Yeah,
is
bro,
just
100%.
So that's
up
another
there?
side of things I feel like that's important though, is I really do think there's a difference between like the DJ producer and like the artist producer, because like Daniel comes from this heavy DJ lane where I know a lot of people that like aren't that big of a fan of DJing, but like are these huge, amazing producers, and they're like, how do I get my foot in the door? But it really is figuring out like, because DJing nowadays is a way in. Like that's why he was like, I need you to get DJing because I see that we can, this path would be faster this way. Like where I come from, it's like all singing, like it probably would have taken me way longer just being a singer and going that route.
Well, some people like to, for example, the Joyride project. Joyride didn't graduate and need to make money right away. He literally spent the last 10 years perfecting his production and going through 2 projects and then finding a brand that he was like, this is the brand, this is the sound, this is the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom. And he's instant like headliner. You know what I'm saying? Like he's instantly, his first show was probably
And his stuff's just
75,
phenomenal, so
whatever,
it's like-
plus 75 plus, like his first show, which is like another way to approach like having just like the right, you have the vision for the Sonic, you have that collection of music, you have the brand, you have the right team behind it, and you just launch. Like that's almost how like Marshmallow happened. He like went through the process of going through other projects, had the vision, and just went.
And
But
hit the button.
Well, are you guys leveraged? So let's pretend, back to this Jordan situation.
Yeah, what's up?
So he's going to Atlanta. He's going to his 2 spots, getting his foot in the door.
Right.
Is he using his skills as a DJ and throwing a good party as leverage to why they should get him as an opener? Or is he using his audience? Because I'm guessing the audience is not that much of a local. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what I was going to
in the
say
early
is like
stage.
using his tactic is smart if you're not so like with it with your artistry yet and your sound, and you just like want to get
You want to be in the game, and this is the space for you. So like just
you can
being
like
in the space,
throw a party,
and you're kind of like just waiting. Like I remember being a promoter for those things in Miami for Jason Shaw's shows the whole time I was in college, and I would just like sit in the whatever side section, whatever section, and wherever I was, and I would just like sit there and be like, that's gonna be me my day. I'm just waiting my turn right now. Like I was literally sitting there thinking that in my mind, and that is just the natural progression of things. But
yeah,
the other side of it, you said not just being a good DJ, but I think the other side of it is just being like a good person. I think that's the most important thing is your reputation for like you as a person is huge because like no, all these people are before they work with you, they're asking around, is this person an asshole? Is this person dick? Like what's good with them? And like if you have something that potentially like you did or you got too drunk right now and you were acting a mess or like being an asshole to someone, like that shit will like, especially in the beginning of your career. Like when you're the headliner on top and you get drunk and you're that asshole one night, like that's not gonna kill your whole life. But when you're the guy that's still trying to break your way in, like it could definitely hurt you.
Well, it just goes back to your reputation is everything.
Because then that one guy's like, oh no, that kid's no good, and then the agent hears it before he even has a chance to, it just like snowballs on itself.
Online, people do that shit online and don't realize that you remember. Like, you know what I'm saying? When people like, he'll say some shit or stupid shit from the past, like even for us, like, like there was even one kid who like tried to send us a fake receipt when we first got started.
Fake receipt?
Like like we bought it.
I bought this.
Screenshots like his bank account saying I bought it.
All this
like,
shit. And now he's actually playing shows and shit. And
trying to be cool, but I'm like,
and trying to be cool with us. So I'm like, dude.
In our head, we're like, dude, you were trying to like.
You're kind of a fuckhead, man.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just
it's a small thing, but people remember that shit, man.
No, I feel you.
No, that's what's so
Run,
important.
maybe like, well, with you guys, it's like maybe you won't send him now you're not going to send him the link, and maybe because he didn't have that one sound, he didn't create that one song that could have been the biggest song that he ever made. I'm not saying that's what it is, but it's like that's a very micro example. But the same way with if a person has the bad impression, like I was saying before, the one guy in industry already in your market's like nah, and that's the guy that makes the calls in your market. It's not going to reach further than your market. It's like you just had the stop sign right there.
100%, man. Yeah. And it's like karma.
Karma is real, bro.
Because essentially I also think about hard work like that. Like me and Drew, the harder we work, the luckier we get. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like the same type of shit. Like
that's what the Porsche, bro. Karma, bro. I really think it was like just us. Like when we created this platform, we wanted to create a motivational and inspirational utility to society. That was like we were like, we're not a DJ group, we're not a musician group. We are literally here to motivate and inspire everybody to believe in themselves and do what they want to do.
In whatever form that is.
DJ your ass off until you win a Porsche. That's pretty.
Boom.
I will say though, going off of all this, just another huge thing aside from your reputation is like who you surround yourself with, because aside from just like being a good person and having your rep, but like having the people around you to understand when you're doing something right or wrong sometimes. Like obviously your opinion is the most important, but if you're doing something that's like fuckboy shit and your homie's like, this is F-boy shit, then you're probably doing something that shouldn't.
Or vice versa. If you have someone on your team that maybe doesn't communicate with people or can be like pushy or whatever, like that impression can come back on you. I remember at Grand Central Miami, I was opening for a Crisley show, and Crisley's tour manager.
We love Crisley, by
We're
the
friends
way.
with Crisley now, so let's get that out of the way.
This is just a
Crisley's
story.
tour manager literally comes to me, is like, goes up to my wrist and rips my band off and says, "You need to get out of here." And like
just
I was just chilling. I was literally just chilling. There's no reason he should have done it. He was just being a huge dick. And for the next 2 years, I was literally, anytime anybody said Crisley's name, I was like, bro, I don't think I like
in his
him.
head, he's like,
his tour manager.
No, I was like, dude, because it's like the same way. Like the people you have around you reflect on you, especially in this game. It's your team. You know what I'm saying? It's you. Like they're an extension of Crisley. Like they're Team Crisley. You know what I'm saying? So like at that point, and it was a negative taste in my mouth for like 2 years until I actually sat down with Chris and told him the story about this. He's like, yo, I'm so sorry about that, man. Like that guy was not around for that long. Like whatever, however it went down. Like, but it just goes to show you that like our last topic, just one thing, people remember it and it sticks with you, even if it's just a small thing.
We had the same shit, man. We had employees trying to use Cymatics name to get into a show without us knowing about it. Like, oh, we're with Cymatics. And then getting in, and then like the artist hitting us up, be like, what? And we're like, what?
Yeah.
And fucking call.
Oh, they had like a bad impression with those.
Yeah,
They're trying to leverage
yeah.
Cymatics' name to sneak into it. I'm like, go buy a ticket, man.
I've only done that
fucking
once.
idiot.
I used your guys' name.
Gosh, we use your name all the time.
Oh, was that you?
The EDC, bro.
It's also
like,
funny
right away,
though.
sir.
People don't realize that.
You're good. My bad. I'm sorry. Can I get you a golf cart?
People don't realize though that like the guys that are booking these festivals and these shows, like they're all homies and they all talk, and they're usually just like one or two guys. Like there's only a handful of these people.
There's
know?
like 10 dudes that control this thing, man. And
It's
they
a
all
small
talk.
fucking industry.
Yeah, you make
People
one
don't
wrong
realize
move
it.
and they're all talking about it, and the industry moves fast, but they'll remember.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah.
So we like to ask this question to everybody. And I want like really crazy answer, like something that you're like afraid to say.
Yeah.
But like, what is the craziest tour story? Like somebody acting crazy, some wild fan, or like some crazy shit.
I have a crazy.
Daniel's look on
I got
his face. It instantly came to his head.
Okay, well, we'll both say ours.
Yeah, you guys both can have one for sure.
You go first.
He's
Hopefully
looking,
it
he's
didn't
looking
So
like, should I
we
say
were
this?
we were on a 2-month bus tour with OK.
Oh.
And it was a really dope tour. Abe's the man. It just felt really good the whole time. Anyway,
He's awesome.
the vibe's just good. But we were in Fresno, and I decided to like consume some substances in the morning that led to an altered mind state.
What kind of substances?
Definitely LSD, but so Fresno is this like town where it's like where Mexico meets like Asia, but then there's also like a very southern, like it felt like there's like from the east, like it's like it feels like this thing. So the cool thing about Fresno is it's in the middle of California, and people in Fresno, like when there's a party, it's a big deal. It's not like they get an artist it's people coming from 3 hours in every direction.
Damn.
So every party that's there is 2,500 people.
These kids are
3,000
freaking
people.
Yeah.
And I'll just never forget that whole day, because I was literally just like walking around an industrial district in Fresno, like just waiting for the show. And then once the show happened, it was just like everybody in the crowd
Became zombies.
No, everybody in the crowd was mostly like Asian and Hispanic, so like everybody was really short. I remember going to the dance floor and literally being like over on top of everybody's head.
Yeah, I remember
like
it.
this.
It was a very short crowd.
You know
How
how
tall
like
are you?
They were so
dude, I'm
lit.
like 6 foot. Yeah. So everyone was probably like 5'9", like average or something like that. It's just so cool. Like when you travel around, you see how geography affects like the demographics in
interesting.
an area. You know, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
But anyway, the crazy part of the story is so. This crowd, like I'd never seen people on such, I don't know how, like not clean drugs.
Yeah, like they were like
they
tweaking.
everybody was on whatever the same thing was, because they were all like going.
Like they were definitely like tweaking out.
Going
Like
through-
something
bad Molly.
going
bad
through
something
some
happened.
shit. Like they were all like going
So
through
this
it,
isn't
like,
just Daniel and LC. This
No,
is
no, no.
like,
It was like he was dealing with it
No,
on
no,
a
no. It's
level
like
that
it's
was way more
it's
extreme.
all like one day of just like greatness leading up to this like the
Yeah.
best set ever, because like they're so into it. And then like once we're done, just like looking at the crowd and like analyzing the state of the people.
Yeah.
And like I just remember seeing Kid in the Rail, and he'd be like this. He'd be like,
No, these,
and then he'd
especially
be,
the
like,
front row
back
crew.
down. And then like
Yeah.
going through it. Like
That
all
kid
these
was-
kids
they
were
were tweaking.
going through
They're
it. It's
going
the best
through
way I
some
can
shit,
say.
for sure.
And that show like stuck in my mind forever, because it just
He was
like,
going through it while they were going through
yeah,
it.
we were going through it together, bro.
that's him too. He's the same.
And I was sober going through it, so I was like, I can't even imagine.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
Dude, that whole tour was wavy. The off days were all lit, but that show in particular is like I can't wait to go back to Fresno, because the party is literally insane. And I tell all my DJ friends now that
I know he's like this.
I'm like, do you guys play in Fresno? And they're like, no. I'm like, you should tell your agent you should play in Fresno. That city is fucking amazing. Like,
They're
it's
just
not
so
an amazing
lit.
city. You definitely don't buy a steak in Fresno. I tried to buy a steak in Fresno.
No.
No.
What's
Just don't.
your tour story?
Well, it's definitely different than that one. But this one's actually pretty wild. We played a show. Actually, it was another show with Bro Safari. So many experiences with him, but where it was us, Bro Safari, and someone else. I think. And we
yeah, that would have been
had
a better one to tell.
we had just gotten off stage, and I'm like looking at the
This
crowd.
is also in Atlanta. This was at a country band in Atlanta.
Really?
It was Trap Fest with Bro Safari, Dr. P. and
Dr.
us.
P. That was it.
That's who was DJing.
Oh, okay.
So Dr. P was on, and it was another room where it was just like a lot of like guys and like, I mean like meatheads, like really like big dudes who are on you know what, who knows what, and just really lit guys. And I remember we were like backstage watching Dr. P, and it was like
She's like, I remember backstage watching all those dudes, and I was like, ooh.
No, it was just intense. Like a lot of like male, testosterone going on. And next thing you know, this white guy with his shirt off literally just flies on the stage
Like
and
wrestler-
attacks Dr.
wrestler
P.
stocky
No, like literally, I mean full force, takes him down. And all these security guards are like trying to rip him off, and this guy was on some crazy
No, he
shit.
takes Dr. P and pulls him back, and Dr. P
yeah.
takes a step back. He doesn't hit the ground, and then the guy stands in the place of the DJ booth and goes.
He's like acting like he's the DJ.
like this, bro. And then so the security. So Dr. P backs
lit.
away immediately. Music's still playing, by the way.
No, it's still like a
and
lit party.
how
and
are they
everyone's
reacting?
like,
security guards, two security guards approach this guy. This guy punches the security guard in the face, and the
Yeah.
guy gets dazed and is like, "Okay, we gotta approach this better," because this dude's like
This
strong.
guy was huge and was
He
like
wasn't
going at
tall,
all the
but he
security
was
guards.
He's a big
strong.
boy.
He was like a wrestler,
and he was
for
on
sure.
something that made him like really
Yeah,
insane.
like it was on some shit, but
Like, he was
was
tweaking
going through it
too.
too. But anyway,
But yeah.
No. And then,
Yeah.
no, there's more. So he punched the security guard and then he got dazed. So then they had to like surround him with like 5
Oh, yeah.
security guards, right? It was like closing the circle on this guy. And they literally had to carry him, 5 people, out. And they had him
Yeah,
on
they
a
strapped him down.
Yeah, they put him, no, they didn't strap him down yet. They put him on a stretcher and he was sitting on a stretcher, right? So he's sitting on a stretcher in this like back area of this venue. And there's 3 doors in the room that he's in. There's a green room door. No. It's 2 exit doors and there's a closet door. And he literally jumps off the stretcher,
remember this.
like trying to escape, and runs into the closet.
closet.
And the police literally like tased him, like as
They
he's
were
going.
just like, oh
as,
no.
Like and then they tie him onto the
And he's
stretcher
on the stretcher.
from there.
He's
and
like this on the stretcher. He's like, we were like, he is not okay.
Jesus.
It's like,
That
all right,
was wild.
Time to go. That could have been you.
No, we were talking about that. I was like, thank God. That was actually an intense moment
Yeah, that's
because
scary.
he really did come and like tackle.
It's like right
Dr.
after, it's
P was
all
like,
right,
whoa.
Time to go up, guys.
He was
You guys are
shook.
next.
I don't know how I'd react to a kid doing that to me. I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't react poorly. I'd probably just create space because there's no need to like get injured over some.
He was literally trying to stick all the security guards in the face. It was
crazy.
wild.
That's
But-
crazy.
I'd never seen anything like that. And
Yeah.
I talked to those other DJs. I talked to Nick Brosfar. He's like, bro, I'd never seen anything like that.
Dude,
Yeah, he
San
was-
Holo told us a story about a girl jumping out of a police car window.
Well, she was banging on his tour bus trying to get in. Like, you were looking at me. Like,
She was like, I saw you looking at me in the crowd. She kept saying that.
Oh.
and then wouldn't leave no matter what they do. So they had to call the police, you know, and then.
We've had some interesting like fan scenarios where like there's like obsessive fans and they like will wait till the very end of like when when like after the show we're in the green room hanging out, like at the very end when we leave the building they'll like be out there sitting and like we've had some weird
Not
experiences.
like that. It's like
Yeah, it
I
is like
honestly
that,
appreciate
but-
that vibe, like
No,
so
I
much.
I
It's
appreciate
not,
it, but-
It's when it's just when like that person was literally following us around for like 2 hours after the show or an hour and a half,
Yeah.
literally from the green room to this to this to this. And at that any point she could have been like, yo, can I get a pic? But it was like that one moment where we were already like we had separated from them and we were walking already to the car, and then she yells back, hey!
Yeah.
Some of the people get nervous.
They're nervous, yeah, no, and I get it, and I
know.
understand that. Because I remember the way that I felt.
It's like approaching a pretty girl. Like, maybe not. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I
know what you're saying.
You know,
No, it's weird though. Like I appreciate it so much. I just feel like, if
just
I'm gonna
followed
put it
you
out
around,
there,
yeah.
like definitely just
be up front.
don't be like there's ways of like not being creepy about it. You could just like walk up and be like, what's that?
Be cool, man. That's
Yeah.
that's the biggest advice. we can
Also,
give
some of these
Yeah.
people are on going through some shit.
Well,
like,
yeah,
they're on
the-
something, and
they're
that
on
affects the way
something.
that they'd normally be, and I understand that, and I'm not hating, but there's been times where we've been like, that was kind of creepy. You
Dude,
know what I mean?
me and there's definitely been some weird
At
stuff.
festivals, when fans come up to us, it's like,
Well, dude, there was one dude who was tripping that last
Yeah.
festival. He was like,
Dude, I was watching your fucking serum tutorial, dude.
no, that's how it is. No,
The way you hit that phaser, bro.
and the dude was just dazed, just talking, and you could just tell he's fucking tweaking, man.
Well, it's weird. I don't like mess with like especially MDMA at all. Like I had my time before I was even like heavily DJing where I like experimented, but during that phase that I had, there were times where I would like genuinely feel like a robot. Like I'd feel like, I don't know, not human in like moments. And back when I was going to festivals, there'd be moments where I'd have with artists where I'd be like really weird tweaking. And like, I
Yeah.
get it now when I'm like with these kids and they're like,
We were that
like,
person for
so
Vendetta at
lit.
Tomorrow World for sure.
Yeah.
That's
Oh
funny.
yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like
Vendetta.
the person like waiting by the side, like waiting till they like walk by.
Wait, you guys know who Vendetta is?
I feel like Vendada's
this sounds-
coming on our show today.
Is it?
Possibly, yeah.
No
I think he might
way.
be booked.
They're sick,
Jordan,
though.
am I
Funny story.
right? Vendetta, isn't that one of our bookings today?
No way. That is really full circle
You
weird.
gotta talk to him later. Be like, yeah, you guys remember when Bonnie X Clyde was your fanboy at Tomorrow?
I do have a funny story about that though. They put out a song like right when we were like creating Rise Above And it was with, who was the girl? Something May, Casey May, I don't know. Anyway, it was the coolest. It was something about just getting high as F. Like, it was like so, can I say fuck on this?
Dude, what can you say? We
I don't know.
some spuds over
There's
here.
some things where they're like, you can't cuss. Like, anyway, so it was, the song was all about just getting high as fuck. You can mention it to them. They'll be like, know this name. Because it's one of the songs that like really got them like started at first. And like, I was so obsessed with it. I turned to Daniel. I was like, we have to get high to this song all the time. I love this song. And then they were gonna be at Tomorrow World. We were the biggest fans. Like, the only people at the meet and greet, I was like, I love you guys. And like, these guys were like just starting, like, where is this girl coming from? But little did they know that we were trying to be like a DJ thing, and I was a singer. And
I haven't seen them since.
We
I
haven't.
I haven't been able to tell them that.
Oh, that's
it
hilarious.
is funny though.
What if
I
it
bet
takes
like
over and you act the same way? Like, you just go right back into it.
You just can't
I
help it.
genuinely love them as producers. Like, they are one of my like. And low-key, a lot of people know about them, but I believe that like they're gonna be blowing soon.
So, well, I got a question. So you guys are playing some of those EDC crowd, those fat crowds. Like, what are you guys thinking about?
Yeah.
Like, how are those shows different from the early days? Like, and what's the
Oh my
biggest?
gosh,
what's
so
the biggest
different.
like crowd you guys have played for?
The biggest crowd's like probably like 30,000 people. EDC this year was pretty
EDC
big.
Orlando
SMF was big.
or
EDC
this year,
Orlando 2
Vegas.
years ago.
Yeah.
We're really hyped for EDC Korea. We're really curious how that's going to be. You guys should come September 1st.
But it's weird. Like,
long ride.
I want to
ge-
go there. I heard Seoul's
Yeah,
crazy.
I would definitely want to go over there.
I
Yeah.
heard it's like an advanced New York, like a kind of like a technical like. I don't know.
Well, I just gave you an excuse to go.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm excited. It's definitely gonna be a new experience. But I love like, it's weird. People are always like, "What is it like to play in front of such a big crowd?" But actually, I think, and I'll speak for myself, but I think it's easier sometimes playing in front of a huge crowd because they're not as close up to you. So you know, when you're in the crowd at an EDC, you're looking at the DJ, and it's like it's not as close
Yeah,
unless you're in the
that
front
makes
row and you're
sense.
like really feeling it. Majority of the people are far away, and when I'm like at an intimate show, like that's when I feel like I really get to connect with kids and like touch them.
It's
and
a
get our
different
sweat
type of
and,
loving it. Like, I love
Yeah.
the seeing a sea of people going and
Yeah.
the energy, and you know, obviously when 30,000 people are screaming,
like a magical
versus
feeling, for
1,000
sure.
people, it's a different decibel level.
Yeah.
And like all
Yeah.
that, and like the way that my react and my adrenaline goes up because of it is amazing.
He's definitely
but
a huge crowd person.
I love it, but I also like will play for 300 people in like a small tight room, and it'll be like the best party ever. And
Yeah.
I think I'll walk out of that 300 person party being like, me as the DJ had more fun, but like maybe the big stage was like more epic.
Yeah,
You know
that
what I'm
makes sense.
saying? Like for me, like the different type of, I like them both. It's not one or the other. They're just very different. And
It's also like a lot of DJs, well, majority of DJs come from, being behind a booth, and we flourish when it's like a fat stage where we
Front
can run
stage.
all over it and then go behind the booth
You guys
and
ever
like
jump into the crowd?
Oh yeah.
Is that crazy? I've never crowd surfed.
It's-
crowd
try to get me-
surfing is fun. And then also like
It's fun.
splitting up the room and like
Doing cool crowd
having people
control
do
stuff's fun.
or making people go down, or distributing water bottles, making them throw it up. What else is there? Tricks?
Interacting with the crowd in general is just like something a lot of people don't take advantage of, and it
Yeah.
is not only so much fun, but like they literally remember it forever.
It goes back to the just throwing a good party.
Yeah.
Seems like that seems to be like the theme of like the whole project, like keep
Oh.
like upping it like in terms of like events and all this stuff. You
Well,
know?
wait, so I do want to say this. So aside from Daniel and I as individuals, throughout high school, well before we were ever like, oh, we're going to be a DJ duo in a project, we were just party friends. Like we genuinely were in the exact same friend group and partied all the time. And Daniel and I used to,
We had our first collab in high school,
yeah, we did.
For real, first song.
We started a chant. It was
the Friday song.
the Friday song, and we just go throughout our like locker bay and got everyone hype, and we'd be like, "It's Friday, let's get fucked up. It's Friday,
Let's get.
We
and
actually-
literally the whole locker bay would be like, "It's Friday."
You should make that into a song. That'll probably go off.
Might be
Dude,
videos of that.
Let's go.
Post
That's
it on
actually a great
IG.
idea." But
I'm okay.
but it's funny
Cut
because
that part out of the interview. Like
at that time though, we had no
call it.
idea about like any that we were going to different colleges, had different lives, whatever. But even like in high school, we'd like meet up at the lunch table, and I remember our friendship was just always so like lit. Like we'd talk about like our hookups or like what else we talked about, just lit party stuff, or like what we're gonna do to the table to like get the lunch
Like,
table.
what do you talk about at high school?
Stupid shit.
Yeah, the dumbest.
Just whatever.
What
But-
party's going on the weekend? Really, I can't imagine partying.
When?
I'm just saying, like that's what we did. Like
Yeah, that was
the
it.
weekend. Yeah, like
Yeah.
But what I meant to say is like aside from our artistic visions individually, like we had always had this like very outgoing, energetic party vibe to us. So when we came together, and especially when I learned how to DJ and like we could fluidly DJ together, it was like we created a party, and it came really organically. And it's kind of cool the way it happened, because then we were like, whoa, like we really have something here. And it's not just, you know, our own visions, but it's like us coming together, like people, we start a party. And it really just has to do, I think, our personalities. That's really it, because it's not so much we're like always trying so hard to like, you know, put your hands up, we want you to get lit. But like we just go up to the crowd and we're like, let's get lit. Like, you know, it's just fun party vibes.
So when you guys were playing the shows and stuff, what like team members helped? Because you guys started off going solo.
Huh? What do you mean?
Well, like,
oh, like
the
as
manager, like. So what
Yeah.
elements helped it scale out a bit? You know what I'm saying?
well, definitely Paul.
Yeah, Paul Campbell, new management, and he just like helped us like in the sense of give us like a different perspective on like DJ sets and flow, and like I had like a theory of my own, and like kind of just combining the two.
He came from
He's like very like don't stop the beat, never stop the beat.
well, he loves techno, but he also is just like he comes from like throwing event background and like understands, like he's connected with a lot of guys in the industry, and he just saw our project, and it was cool because he was able to be like that third party who was like, guys, like this is what you got to do right now, you know?
Yeah.
And that whole thing led to making the EP, which we released through Insomniac and Interscope, and that was like the next. We had another single that was like cool, like some SoundCloud, you know, kind of like holding it up, keeping it going. But then we had this EP.
Well, yeah, he helped us connect with Insomniac, which
was like the biggest thing that like got us from out of our Florida and around
playing
the country.
just club shows to then now we're on festivals.
Yeah.
so
So you
you
guys went straight to that. From my perspective, it almost felt like straight to like playing all the festivals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well,
'cause-
we signed an EP with Insomniac and Interscope, which then led to like, you know, them. We all just became
Plus
this like
Insomniac
fan.
has, like, you know-
Yeah, and we
And we
actually
had one song on there, Bass Jam. It was #1 on XM, and we played it at EDC. And Geronimo heard it for the first time live, like in that moment, which
You're
was the
rushing
first
through
time.
that, but that's like kind of big, yeah.
Yeah.
We had a song, which is probably what made our career so far. Bass Jam.
Well, in that year, whatever year that was, 17 or whatever.
That song though, like if it weren't for Bass Jam, like I really don't believe we would be where we are, because it like these kids. It was interesting. Like aside from, it's not a heavy bass track. It's just called Bass Jam, and it's about like getting lit to bass.
Yeah.
And like it's crazy the amount of like, especially girls, and just like they freak out over the song, but it's not even like you listen to it and a lot of the producers are like, this is some heavy bass shit. It's not that. But it just connected really well with the electronic community, and that's really what led like Insomniac and everybody to like really support us.
The song was like doing well and was getting initial support before it was even released, like because he heard it before it came out. So it was like, when this comes out, this is going.
Geronimo
on.
loved it.
So it's like this whole like
At XM.
like wave of energy around the music that like just everyone was supporting, and it led to like we were on a different Insomniac event or like a festival pretty much every month. Every month a new festival.
How many did we play? We played a lot that
Like
year.
12 or 13 that year or something, but like every month it was crazy. And we had like some shows and stuff in between, but small stuff. It was mainly just that. And then we were still in Miami. We weren't living in the hood anymore. We were just living
You're out
in
of the
like,
hood.
one of their friends' houses, like still renting a room or whatever. And then we were like, we got to move to LA.
Well, we had gotten to a point where we were playing so many shows in Florida. It was like,
Is it that time?
it was like we
real-
have to
real quick.
expand. And at the time, our management also wanted to move to LA, and we all wanted to make the transition
Is
together.
that worth it? Because a lot of people.
It's all
Okay,
about it's all about timing,
timing,
and your
yeah.
strategy. If your
Yeah.
strategy is you're building off the DJing and you're like promoters and stuff, like in my opinion, LA is like a tough market. Like there's so many clubs, so many people. It's like almost you can get lost in this big sea. So like for me, Miami, and that was why I transferred to University of Miami, because I felt like Miami was a nice place where, you know, I could easily get DJing.
These clubs are making racks too, man.
Besides LA, what cities do you think are good for people to get started in?
That's like if you're like want to be a DJ and you're like graduating from high school and you're like, yo, I want to go to college somewhere, like strategically go to college in a city where this can happen. To your question, Miami is a great one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that
Any of the major cities
I think
are
that
great.
Washington D.C., like things that have like venues that are like bringing artists every week.
Yeah.
That's how you can tell. So D.C.'s good.
There's a lot of
Atlanta
markets
would
coming
be
up, too.
like a B. but there's still you could still make it happen. Like you could definitely make it. I'm just saying where there's like 5 options or 7 options
There
where
are
you
some
could play.
poppin' areas though that are really coming
Seattle's
up.
dope.
Seattle, yeah.
Portland's
Denver.
dope. Denver's a
huge.
great one.
I've heard a lot of people talk about Denver. They always call it the bass music capital. I don't
Yeah,
know
I mean,
about
Denver
that,
is
but
just popping with bass music. Denver, Seattle, really good. Even El Paso, I feel like, is so lit right now. But I'm not too
I
familiar
mean,
with
Riot 10 came up out of
playing.
El Paso, for
Right.
example. And now he went back there and threw his own music festival in his hometown, and it sold out. So
that's
Yeah.
fucking amazing,
Dude, that's-
man. I didn't know that about him.
yeah, we played it last
But
month.
he's
That's
one of
really
those
cool, man.
people, I swear, like, every time I'm around him, he is just the best energy and such a great person that, like, that really transcends. Like, people want to be around good people.
Yeah, no,
Like-
100%. It makes you.
And people want to support good people.
You know what's interesting too? Like when you meet people online, you never really know how they actually are until you meet them in person. When
Yeah,
you meet them in person,
totally.
it's like you know in like 5 seconds. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, some
Yeah.
people are just like, it's so weird because they have these like split personalities. They act different on and off camera. Y'all aren't like that at all, though. The people we've
Well,
met
that's-
since we've been here have been really
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
Well, that's great because sometimes Daniel and I
Well,
feel
you guys
that.
recognize the real, but it's funny with you because I've known you and like talked to you a little bit online, but I mainly talked to Steven, but like I felt like I've known you forever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what
it's
I'm saying?
interesting. We've never actually
Met in person.
Yeah,
like I've
for
had an
sure.
idea of like what you look like, kind of, but I've never actually like.
That's funny.
It is funny.
He's got the,
I got
iconic.
fatter for sure than I used to be.
He's
so.
iconic Post Malone. That's what they.
Dude,
it's all his,
definitely.
There's so many,
People always compare
so many
me to
likes
Post
in the
Malone.
comments. They'll be
It's
like,
funny you
"Post
guys say
Malone."
that though, because I find it's just so hard for me. I don't know, but and it's weird because I love performing and I love like I don't really get stage fright. Like I get some anxiety just in general, but it's not like from stage fright. But I have such trouble getting on my phone and like talking and
I do
feeling
not
like
do that
myself.
ever.
Like I feel like I'm just talking to the. I don't know. It's so weird.
I was just actually thinking about that when you guys were in the kitchen. I was like, it's like I feel like I didn't know your face that
Yeah,
well.
because I don't do that ever, but I don't mind like getting on these. Like it's
all-
it's a
Yeah.
different different
vibe.
thing though.
Yeah, it's a
This is fun.
It's fun to get on and
Yeah.
talk to people.
Well,
but-
because so our company
Yeah.
did a big shift. So like before, we're constantly focused on like let's sell more shit. But then ever
Yeah.
since we met like Gary V, like Gary Vaynerchuk, and he showed us a bunch of shit. Now it's like let's do cool shit, right?
Yeah.
And that's all our money focused. So like this is like discussion. So you kind of get like a more real. So even me, half my videos before were like go buy this thing.
Yeah.
Now it's
Yeah.
like we're shooting the shit. I mean, you guys are rolling.
and that's
fucking
why a lot of people
joints
didn't
in.
like
Rolling
Steven for a
joints,
while. Was because
We're
he
in
was
the
always
hills.
just plugging
Promo
shit.
guy.
Yeah, he was just like he was the guy that was always emailing whatever. I mean, we still email a lot, but it's like it's a different feeling now for sure.
Just focus on more free shit now, like more value. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I love what you guys are doing.
Not worry about the money, and you surprisingly make more money.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing, you know.
It's great.
And even this
Longevity.
podcast, I think, is like, dude, that Kyle kid blew up. I don't even know what's out right now, but
That video,
yeah,
it's
like,
doing-
dude, there's
it's
so
doing
many
well.
clips you guys already said, like little things.
There's like
here and
there's
there.
like 15 clips probably already of just.
I
you
almost
guys
mentally
saying
noted
good
like,
shit.
oh, that was great. Like, like, oh, Paige, that was awesome. Or
Well,
Daniel,
I got more.
that's gonna go off, you know.
So regarding this weed, we actually when we create, we only use one strain.
let me see this.
Yeah.
So
It's,
we've gone through like in our
It's the
creation
best.
process, like being in California, and we had a weed sponsor when we first got here, so we got to try like so many different types, and we got to really feel how certain things made us feel or whatever.
It's
so
about to sell like everybody in the Cymatics fucking
Yeah.
watching this is gonna the sales are just
I
gonna,
know we're so.
I know. I
everybody's
feel
like,
you.
what strain was that?
Okay, so let me tell you about the strain.
real
The
though,
strain
we're
is
filling
called
you in on some-
XJ13. It's a sativa. It's pretty readily available in California, at least.
Something I will say about this strain, though, just for people that are weed connoisseurs,
It's nice.
I find it's definitely not for everyone because it can cause people, I guess. I've had people smoke it and they're like, oh, I feel like a little anxious, but you have to be in the right mental space, I feel like.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
when-
why I smoke most. I mean, all the weed I got
Yeah.
since we've been here has been indica. I only smoke
Yeah.
indica for the most part.
I genuinely, this XJ13,
There's some-
I smoke this when I'm trying to like go in. Like, it's my Adderall.
Yeah.
Like, no joke. The people are like, you're
Yeah, I'm
smoking
excited- I'm
weed
excited
like
to
as your
try it.
Adderall. I'm like, you have no idea.
Because it doesn't make you like anxious.
What
in
is
the
it called?
Same way. It's
It
called
just like
XJ13.
wakes you up and makes you creative, like opens
Clear,
like,
but you can still think.
What is it called?
XJ13.
XJ13. Number one producer tip, Bonnie Clyde.
And
Bonnie
there's
X Clyde.
a- there-
XJ13.
What weed you need to produce?
Don't worry about serum. Don't
Bro,
worry
I swear
about.
to God, you can fuck your day up with smoking the wrong kind of weed for sure.
Oh, I agree.
Dude, I'm
Oh, yeah.
not productive, man. I go out.
Where's
Yeah.
My productivity. Like,
Well, it could be the strain, you know?
could be. I got coffee. I'm addicted to coffee. I'll
This is my
fucking-
coffee. I don't
Oh,
drink
I
coffee.
love coffee too. Yo,
wake
matcha
up in the
all
morning,
day.
Matcha tea. I need to start getting on that. I like
Iced
warm. They have
matcha.
warm matcha tea.
Of course, yeah, they have hot matcha. It's so good too.
I'm all about the warm matcha tea.
tasty.
Is that the XJ13?
Eat my bagels and smoke my weed. You guys are like,
What was I gonna mention?
you guys are like living my life for like one day right now.
You
Or
guys
at
are
least
gonna-
my morning.
You guys are gonna feel
Do you
how
eat
we
those bagels
feel.
every morning?
Yeah, bro. There's this bagel shop. It's called New York Bagel. It's on Ventura and Sherman
Daniel's
Oaks.
definitely
Literally, we go
obsessed.
there every morning. They have reverse osmosis, water filtration in the back, and then run it through all their coffee, bagels, whatever. And LA bagels suck. So it's like a nice breath of fresh air within this like abyss of lack of bagels or quality bagels.
Dude, you're talking about breath of fresh air. Dude, the weirdest thing is when we flew into the city, and I was making jokes on our story, but it turns out to be real, that we were smog.
Oh yeah.
They're just cool with like smog blowing the city. I'm just like looking at it, I'm like, why is no one more?
They should just put a giant fan on the hill and just blow it all away.
It's pretty serious.
Wow. Wow.
What's
That
up?
XJ13 kicking in.
Harvard just called.
Big fan, blow that shit. No, it's crazy though. We haven't even been. Honestly, it's almost like we're not in LA. We're like at the Airbnb. You know,
Yeah,
it's
we
kinda-
haven't left. Like
We haven't
literally,
left. We
I
just
have
wouldn't
not
leave.
left.
You guys are
literally
so
told
far
him-
up here.
Yeah.
I was like,
On the way here, we're
It's
like,
like maybe-
they don't leave.
Yeah,
There's
we
no
don't.
way.
Dude,
Well-
Uber Eats takes forever to get.
Yeah,
we were literally talking about that. Oh my
I
god.
was like, if you're gonna get a house
hard.
like
Yeah,
this,
definitely.
you probably should go to the grocery store and get a ton of
That's what we
shit.
did.
Yeah.
I mean, you're 15 minutes from the point of going anywhere. You have to go down like 15 minutes to get anywhere.
I know.
yeah.
It's,
And that's the thing about these hills houses. They're so beautiful, but it's like a mission. getting
Yeah,
it down.
it's worth it though when we come out here and we can just set up and like this is the perfect podcast setup
No.
right here. So
This is perfect for you guys.
do you want
And
to
for
this one too?
honestly, if I was like,
No, I do, but not after
If
the
I had a
stream, 'cause
scenario,
I know
you guys would
how
do the same thing.
my mind will react.
Yeah.
to it.
like, not even.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's been also like in our opinion, it's not just about squeezing everything out of this trip because I think the more face to faces we get here, it makes it like future trips so much easier. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To like just hit up that person like, yo, you know,
What
I'm
you doing?
doing
Let's go get KBBQ. Yo, have you got? Did you guys?
You guys got guests? I know you guys can feed us some monsters.
From
here?
where?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. You need to go to Road to Seoul in Koreatown. That's it.
I'm a
you
vegan.
meet-
I'm
if
talking
you
about podcast guests. He suggests me Korean barbecue.
Oh, podcast.
Oh,
That's,
so-
I can hook you up.
That's
Oh, you
what
mean in the
happens, too.
context of production and
Dude, you know I
We need
got.
some more industry.
Oh, I
folks.
got you all day.
I got you. Yeah.
I'm down. I'm down to talk about like music and the creation and how we're like
Yeah, let's
how we
go.
were.
I would love to
thinking,
talk about
Let's,
that,
and
let's
now
yeah.
how
go.
we're
Yeah, let's
thinking.
go into the production
I was
side.
gonna say we
'cause,
should talk about that.
we definitely cover a lot of which actually I really liked you guys' perspective on all the show stuff and like out there touring, getting gigs and stuff because you guys kind of laid a practical roadmap in my opinion. Maybe not every
I love
person.
how you said you mapped it out. That's what everybody
Yeah.
should be
We need
doing.
to
I
release
don't think
that.
I don't
Oh,
think
yeah.
any almost nobody watching this right now has written down a business plan for their project.
Yeah, it's
I
not that
don't
hard.
think
Look
Well-
up business plan template and just fill in what it says, and then you'll be like, wow, I have clarity on my whole vision now.
rather
Also,
than
just writing everything down helps you.
By the way, that was the
100%.
first thing me and Steven did too. So
I could pull out right now in my
have
book
it
bag
here.
notebooks of the month before we
Send you a
launched Cymatics.
It like legitimizes everything.
Yeah.
yeah, and the funny thing
Like,
is, the
this
shit
is
comes
happening.
true. If you look at it, like you'll look back and be like, damn, we did a lot of this. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
not sure if you had the experience looking back at the
haven't
business
looked
plan.
back.
Totally.
Go
look back at it,
I have done the look back thing though. It was
You'll
a
be
year
like
ago.
played EDC. You'll be like, fuck. You know what I'm saying? You'll start
Yeah.
to see like a lot of this shit like came true. You know?
Well, it's kind of cool. It taught me also a little bit about just like being a parent because I actually think our parents did a really good job of like not just like our parents had money. We came from we're not poor families, but we had parents that were like, okay, like we're not just going to give you everything. Like you have
That's
to
a good
work
thing.
for your money.
That's
and
really good.
If I didn't have my dad doing that, I swear I wouldn't have the same like driven motivation to like make money and like make it for myself. You know, I think that's huge. It taught me a lot about being a parent.
Having a shit job.
Yeah.
I think some of our worst employees we've had that didn't make it have always been people that haven't had real jobs before.
And, like, just were
just
given-
like kind of
Yeah.
just given everything.
I would be a terrible employee for you.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
100%.
you're a hustler though.
you're like an
you,
Definitely.
you're a go-getter. That's the thing is the
Yeah.
whole thing I've gotten from this is like you go out, you make connections,
I can, especially,
making things
yeah, Daniel,
happen.
your personality is very like, I'm not gonna say salesman-like, but kind of is like in a sense. Like you can like, yo, we need to, you know what I'm saying? Like link
Mm-hmm.
up with people and like make it happen.
Yeah, it's the vibe.
It's
baby.
good. No, it's a good strategy.
It's
you know?
gotten more that way too, just over time, because just relationships matter
It's like
so
pass
much.
it. What are you doing?
Well, we've
What, do you
been
guys,
in enough scenarios now to know that like it really, really comes down to like having quality music, but who you know is so valuable because at the end of
And
the day,
how
they're the
who you
people
know
that-
perceives you.
which
That's
is-
the other side of it. You can know them, but how they view you is
Well, how they view you, yeah.
everything.
That's some crazy shit right there.
Yeah.
yeah.
That is a crazy thing to think about. No, that's dope. So diving into production.
Boom.
Yeah.
Ableton,
Hey, we got Ableton users.
Ableton.
All day.
Yeah.
Any plugins you guys are really liking right now?
There's Defacer.
I'm on Omnisphere
I've been
all the
seeing
time.
Kick
but
2,
everyone, I
Omnisphere,
feel like,
Trillion's
loves
a really
Omnisphere.
great one. Oh, here's a good one. Fox Stevenson showed me
Oh,
this.
yeah.
It's this shit called Soothe. And it
yeah.
when you have a vocal, you know how you're always sitting on vocals and you're like, oh man, there's that 2 or 3 points. There's that really harsh whatever. And you're trying to find the, duck that
EQ,
frequency
yeah.
out that just bothers you. It's this plugin that's called Soothe that literally it has various parameters relative to the vocal that you're able to just it takes care, it sees those frequencies and brings them down and makes your waveform more
Yeah.
kind of like an in compression way, but not all the way because it's kind of like EQ. It feels like just volume. But I mean, it's called Soothe, man. I highly recommend it. Vocals. And then
If you're trying to make really weird stuff, Sign Plant's really weird, but can get
we don't
really
actually,
fun.
No, we use it. We've used it in 2 productions.
Flume uses it a ton. I know.
Who?
Oh, I
Flume?
I
Flume,
know.
I bet he
that
does.
shit.
I
He
can
loves
hear
it.
that he uses it. It's
That's all
crazy.
Flume does.
Flume does some weird shit.
Flume's
man.
part computer program.
No, really. He does some really cool.
He has
I
an
love his
interesting mind.
Yeah,
nuance.
The way he thinks about production is different.
But
man.
if you listen to the way his music comes out, you could tell. I mean, he is doing some crazy tactics.
His
It's not-
compositions are
He's
he does
definitely not
not.
thinking about Spotify playlists at all.
No.
He's like,
You know
what
what
is
I'm
the
saying?
craziest?
He's not-
I
That's
swear.
why it's so
He's
great
probably
though.
hitting one-
Exactly.
He's probably
Yeah.
hitting one of these guys.
And that's the point that I'm trying to get to is exactly that. It's when we first were creating Bonnie and Clyde, we were in our mind because we were new artists, knew everything. We were thinking, what are we gonna make in order to fit in these various outlets that can help get us exposure and all that noise, right?
Well, that makes sense.
No,
though.
it does make sense when you're early and you're trying to build something and you're trying to get exposure. You kind of have to find the balance between your music and where the industry's at. You know what
Right,
I'm
instead of
saying?
someone just finding you and being like, I love your
I love
art.
this. It's wait, and then,
Yeah.
but now that we have this platform and we have this touring and, I mean, now a new team around us and this vision and this mentality with me and Paige and I, where we're totally not thinking about that anymore. We're literally only focusing on making music to make the experience when you come see us epic and exactly what we have in our mind. The way I can describe it is experiential, experimental, cinematic, and big tension, great release.
But with vocals.
Dark,
Yeah.
edgy,
Is there
sinister.
Is there any stuff you guys are really liking right now with how you guys are processing your vocals?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, Bad Behavior is a good example of that one.
Well, honestly, I just find more so than we've ever done before, just layering
Layers.
a ton. There's so many levels to my voice that I have not shown people because I don't layer. And now that I'm doing it, it's crazy.
Rise Above has just one vocal stem.
You
You know what I'm saying? And then maybe our Wanted EP has there's only 2 or 3 points around where there's harmonies, and now shit's
How
and
many?
it's actually,
how many-
that's a tip for vocals in general, but I really think I sound better with 5 of me.
Well, yeah,
Is that how many
it
layers
evens
you're
out.
using?
It's why
Yeah.
it's the same
More,
thing as
less.
you can put together a kid's chorus
Much
with
as
20
15.
kids that
Right.
fucking suck at singing, and somehow they still sound good.
Exactly. When I layer, I find it's funny you say that because I'll take one of a vocal that I don't even think I sound that good in, and I'll layer it with a same kind of thing 5 times, and I'm I fuck with it. It's so crazy, but
and
I'm
then the
layering.
harmonies and playing with
But then you have a good vocal and you do that.
ratios
It's
and chords to create certain feelings in certain moments.
Yeah.
That just add more drama to your music, and that's another thing. Focusing on making our music more dramatic.
Hit this?
Pass.
Also, just speaking to our artistry right now. Well, I come from a background when I went to Virginia Tech. There weren't a lot of music classes, so I did a lot of film, and specifically, I did this class called Ways of Seeing, and it was the entire class was everyone just had to sketch everything they saw, and we saw we read books, we saw films, and everything. You just had to sketch what you thought while you're watching everything. And it inspired me because I also really love plays. And the whole, you know how when you go and see a play, there's different scenes. I want eventually when we have our huge Bonnie X Clyde show at a stadium or whatever, I want there to be scenes and there's gonna be levels of energy to our performance where we're always gonna have that high energy. We're always gonna be throwing a party, but there's also gonna be moments, little niche moments where it's either I'm doing a little acoustic thing or there's just,
We're gonna make you
be
rage, make you cry, make you laugh.
Right, there's going to be a wave to our show that it's going to be a
dynamic.
cinematic show
And
where you're going
not
to feel
all
like
songs
it's
either are just. It's not her getting up there and singing for 60 minutes.
Right.
It's just dynamic. Some song,
Yeah.
but it's all around this theme of like, we call it vocal bass. It's having the whole vocal like tone in the song to like give it that more organic feeling, but it doesn't have to be like words. It can just be a chop or in just like, you know, a drop and more experiential. Like I was
Like we
talking
take you on
about
an
before.
experience where like after our show, you'll like feel like you kind of just saw a movie in a sense, but it's like
Interesting.
music.
Like that's kind of like the goal now, where before we were like, how can we get on the radio?
Well, we were kind of like, how can we be like so lit, like just the best party ever, which we still do, but we want to also.
I'm
create
talking
this,
about the
like,
production side. I'm
feel-
saying
okay.
in when we sat down and made a song, we weren't sitting
Song,
here,
gotcha.
let's make something like that's like with all the adjectives I described previously. We were going like, will this fit on Fresh Dance?
Yeah,
I'm
like,
trying
who's
to get
gonna
in
love
Mint.
it? Or-
That
It's
makes
like
sense.
it's like in how I feel about why. Like I love those songs. Don't get it twisted, because I put my heart and we put our hearts in our everything into those songs or whatever. But at the end of the
Just gotta
day,
bring the water over here,
Jordan,
man.
why do you?
What are
Jordan's
you doing,
getting
man?
scared. He's like,
Just come over here and bring
we're
the
gonna
water
walk.
over here.
Long story short, we're just kind of like at a new phase where like our While We're Young EP phase was us kind of like figuring where we could be at. And we're not really focused so much on that anymore because we have a little light on our brand, and now it's like, okay,
new
like
perspective.
we want to show people what we really want to be seen as, and we want them to hear what we want to be heard as. Yeah. So
How do you split up your time with like production and DJing? Because it sounds like you guys spend a lot of time like touring, DJing, doing all that stuff.
People
Yeah.
feel like it's like all the time thing, and it's this crazy thing where we're working all the time, and it's definitely taxing on time. Like it'll be 48 hours a week, but that 48 hours will be like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then we'll be home Sunday morning, or Friday, Saturday.
And
we'll be
really
home Sunday
weird
morning.
hours.
But it'll just be like every weekend. So like every Sunday, Monday, it's like readjusting to like getting back to like. So there's like, you know, a lag. So that's probably the hardest part. Like right now, we've been home for almost 3-4 weeks. This is the longest time we've had no DJing in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Which was
Damn.
chosen.
We did it.
We wanted
Yeah.
it. We wanted this time because we had this new perspective that we wanted to sit here and make music and like just like roll out the next year like just.
you know when you
super
have like
strong.
one consistent thought that
You know,
just,
it's like one
you have
thought,
to
and
get
that's
out,
the thing.
kinda
Like when you're
on
touring,
that.
that's the hardest part is that thought when you're like sitting there really like diving into the vision, and you're like have to go on the road and play some 2 shows and then come back and dive back in. It's like
It
it's
hurts.
like you
That's
gotta
hard.
like
It seems
more
hard.
get loose, get back
Yeah.
into it. You know what I'm saying?
But it can help sometimes. Like I found it kind of like
You get back and you're like, or you played it that weekend. That's the other advantage. You
Yeah.
can play things for people
Does
and
that
you
give you a good
actually
read?
see
Yeah.
how they react.
totally.
Yeah.
Sneak it into the set real quick. Be like, oh, that was popping, or we need to work. You
But
know?
something about our brand that is kind of like stands out is that we don't just have like our rave music. We also are making like songs for like, you know, people to listen to when they're just chilling in their car or whatever. So we have like multiple sides to our music, which sometimes we'll like play something out and we're like, okay, this isn't suitable for the dance space. We'll put this for, you know, whatever. But then we have the songs that are like, you know, we need to have this bang out. And if it doesn't sound right, we got to, you know, make it bang. So it's cool. Like we have a lot of different dynamics to our brand, which is cool.
Yeah, no, for sure. So what do you guys think is like the biggest mistake you see in newer producers? Like guys who haven't made it yet, production-wise.
Actually,
Okay.
production-wise, the biggest mistake I see, I was actually gonna say as a whole when I was like jumping.
Don't have a
I hear a lot of
Yeah,
people
right.
not fading the basses and the synths around the kick. I think just doing like your simple side chain is like cool, but like
Kyle went in the same direction with this.
yeah, I mean it's the same thing, bro. Like literally like just fading like volume fade, or you can even do a utility fade if you're trying to be lazy. But I still think that literally fading the audio and doing it like every moment is like exactly what you want it to be, and it's not like controlled. And it just makes it clean. And I hear a lot of like kicks and basses, like at least I don't prefer just the side chain scene. It just when it's faded, the kick's so clear and the bass is so clear and nothing's on top of each other, and that's one mistake. And then just like general, a lot of people just make the kick and snare like a little too loud sometimes.
I was just gonna say volume. I feel like
Volume, yeah.
Levels are so important.
Oh my
People
gosh,
don't understand
it's
just
crazy.
leveling your shit is everything.
100%.
that, and also I feel like sometimes nowadays people are overcomplicating. Like they're have so many tracks, and like I just think simplifying things is so
I got
important.
one. It's also like I call it serum trap or serum dub.
Oh.
It's like the same like reverb filter
Yeah.
sounding.
Yeah.
We talked with Kyle about this
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, bro, because it's like the struggle of like, you know, when I'm sitting here looking for all the younger producers and trying to find new sounding shit that's like I want to play, and they're like make edits. It's like I'm like, oh, just more serum trap, more serum trap, more serum trap. Like I don't know,
Serum
trying to be
trap.
more creative with Serum.
Yeah.
Maybe create some like custom wavetables using stuff that's not
Creating
other
your
people
own
are
sounds,
using.
Or not even
Huge.
using serum. Sample,
Yeah, not even
sample you
serum,
banging
whatever.
on a
yeah,
pan or something.
Simpler, however.
I'm not kidding. You can make a sound like even recently, like I find I'll just like create something and I'm like, this sounds exactly like this person, and I'm like, no,
Because like
I know that's,
obviously like I could say, okay, like Hero Bust, he uses Reason or one of the other not common DAWs. I forget, maybe it's not Reason, but it's like that's why he sounds different. And that's why I feel like he's been able to like keep it going in trap because the shit just sounds different. And going back to Ableton, it's just like you can look at the tutorials and all that stuff for reference, and that can help you learn like the fundamentals of the game. But at the end of the day, it's like the shit that's really gonna stick out is the stuff that's like just different. So finding
Finding
different
out
ways
your
to
own-
experiment with this, with all the parameters that you have in front of you, and don't be afraid to just like, yo, what if I did this? And then actually just like
Just trying
going
different
and doing
stuff,
it. Like
yeah.
not limiting to yourself to something you saw on a YouTube video because you think that's like the right thing. Like I think the most fun I ever have in production is when I'm just like not thinking about any of that shit and literally just like going and fine tuning a tone, and you know what I mean? You just go. It's like this flow of where you're not really thinking too hard, but you're still in it. And I mean that's the ideal where I feel like for me I make my best stuff, or the stuff that I'm like, yo, like most.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this is sick, and then people, it goes to people because like when you're like, oh, this is sick, like normally people are like, yo, this is sick. At least you're like, unless you're like playing yourself, you know what I mean?
I just think it can be difficult for a lot of people to understand that, like some people I think are just there's two sides of it where you just want to be this artist and stick to what you love, but then there's obviously what's poppin' and what actually is going to get you seen by a lot of people. And at the beginning of our project, I remember, just because Daniel and I's brains are very different, I'm like a little more like he's very business. So a lot of the time he'd be like, yo, like I feel like this is just not going to pop on Spotify or whatever. And I would be like, but it's my art. Like,
yeah, I mean, a
love
lot of that
it.
perspective that we're talking about came from me because I was trying to balance I mean, I know this is a creative thing, Bonnie and Clyde, and the artistic thing, but there's also a business side. So there's like,
There is a
especially in
balance.
the beginning, there's a strategy that is tighter from a creative side to maximize the probability of success is the best way I can say it, because you can't guarantee it. It's just like, but you're just like seeing all the things and trying to like, it's like an equation, the game, and then you just like have an answer, and that's your song.
People don't understand how important the business side is. Like the
They
marketing
Yeah.
and stuff.
pay attention to it at all.
Like,
It's kind of scary.
Yeah, like me
honestly.
and Drew, like for us, like that balance is like product quality. Okay, so it's like has to be amazing. That's like kind of like the more artsy side. And then
Yeah.
you gotta think like then there's like the business side, like
Right.
the socials and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So many artists think that they just can have a product and they just will work. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But then I always bring up the reference is like put like the best songs in the world on a USB and just chuck it in the forest because nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? But like you gotta like be able to like, I mean, essentially like know the business.
I've learned that I actually think there's a time and place for both, and I think it's important sometimes with a team to have someone that's focused on like different aspects, like, the creative, whatever. There can be multiple creatives that also have, business mind, but the fact that he is more business and I'm a little more on the creative end kind of separates things for us and like helps us.
Yeah, you know what me and Drew feel strongly against? That is this artsy side that sucks. Instagram layouts. People who do like this specific, like, I'm going to cut every shape into the little box. You know what
Wait,
I'm saying?
what?
Or like, or try to make it their feed look super
Like a
aesthetic.
certain artistic.
But you only get one, and they only do that one
Wait,
post
you guys
style.
hate when you go down on Instagram and it all looks like good together?
No,
Is that what you're saying?
it doesn't work that
because
good.
it doesn't actually work like that.
It's
great.
about the
because
individual.
What do you mean?
Instagram
post.
is an individual product.
Yeah, so it's a
about-
newsfeed product.
It's
The
a
product is
newsfeed product.
vertical.
That's where the
Told
discovery.
So you're
happens.
saying when you go down, wait, I am so curious. I definitely think this is more of a girl thing now.
No, it is because my
Yeah.
wife is literally she can't look at my Instagram.
That's personal.
She's
because
like,
it
why are
bothers-
all these not going
No,
together?
because and I used to be like that too. I have another Instagram where all
Yeah.
my pictures are very like I'm like
Look good together.
sad, artsy, whatever, and like but
No, but the reason this is if you
Yeah.
look at your analytics, like you just really dive in, it's not that isn't cool or doesn't work, but it's that you're optimizing for the profile view, because usually you get that through a personal feed or your profile feed. It's where you get that strategy looking cool, right?
Yeah.
But if you look at your impressions, like 99% of them, like 90 plus, are coming from the newsfeed because it's a newsfeed product. So they're not seeing your
Their
layout.
whole thing.
Yeah, it's not
as
together.
much.
They're
Or
seeing a
even the
piece.
Explorer. The Explorer isn't a layout.
Explorer's a mess,
it's
but
a
it
shit
does-
show. It looks
Right.
like my feed.
I feel you though.
But we'll have stuff that
But there's
crushes
stuff that
it.
pops on it and you click on it.
You know what's
But this
interesting
is not- It's
though?
not matching though.
It's not.
popping,
It's
but it doesn't have
popping,
to
but it's not
match.
match.
You
It
see what
doesn't
I'm
have to
saying?
match. Like
This
the
is why I
Explorer,
think
when
this
you
That's what I'm
pull it
saying,
down,
yeah.
It's just random.
This is why I think I definitely
I gotta
think
talk
this
to
is
you about some of
more.
our hacks, bro.
I think this is more of a girl thing because
I agree.
there are people I look at just because I think their page looks dope.
And
There
my
are.
wife's the same way. I think it. I definitely think it's.
Like I've hit up Pearls. I'm like, what
I think it, I
preset
think
are
it
you
can
using?
really. The problem is it just limits the fuck out of what you can post. Like you want to. If you had a layout, you
you.
couldn't
Like-
post like a clip from this episode.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you know what
I
I'm
mean?
saying? Or another one.
Yeah.
So
You know,
And
imagine.
I would hate to not.
I
post
just
a
think it
clip
also
from this
matters what you
episode.
care about. Like some people have Instagrams I know, and they're just like, I just want this to look really cool and beachy
Yeah.
in every post. Or like I want.
Yeah, you're right. It's the
You
people
know?
that expect though, like they're going for like a certain thing.
Well,
It's
it's all
not
about
working.
Yeah.
goals too, motives.
Yeah, your motives.
You don't care
know?
about blowing up on Instagram. You just care about having this dope aesthetic on your Instagram because that makes you happy. Then good for you.
I mean, I know people that are making money just off Instagram and they're following because their page looks dope.
yeah, but
Like-
that's if you're maybe at the real top level. It's
Yeah.
hard to keep up with too. Like
It
if
is.
you think about the average kid, if they're trying to do
Yeah.
that at their house, you know how hard that is. They're never gonna get a post up. You can do that maybe later down the road. Like
Yeah.
maybe
Don't be,
having it.
don't be afraid to
I see
meme.
what you're saying.
Yeah,
Don't be
don't
afraid
Memes
to
are
meme.
great.
Memes will go off. I mean, like my highest performing post lately was a fucking random meme.
Photoshop
You
and
guys made your
FL.
own meme of you.
No, yeah, we do
it
that
was-
ourselves.
Well, I've done that before too, but
No, it explodes when you do
This
that.
random one got 21,000 likes. It's a fucking. I
But
just
like,
saw it
okay.
on
Oh,
the
like
Explorer.
about music
Literally a
and stuff.
meme.
You know what
literally a
people don't
meme.
understand about
Any
memes and why they're so powerful? So let me go down and find one real quick. The thing that people don't understand is like, okay, so this is like
Yeah.
a goofy one. Become fit. Okay.
Master buzz clipping, so it's about production.
Every production thing you end up doing, like something
Sporting
happens.
track.
It-
Oh, I
it's
see
a
it.
joke though. It's a
Yeah,
meme,
yeah.
right? But if you click view insights, the reason even memes are good is it brought me 1,832 profile visits that then go to other posts. Essentially, it helps you gateway drug when you don't have enough content. But like
I
people
see.
just see it as like that's meme. I'm like, are you looking at any of the data? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's real. Me and Drew think very like.
No. I feel what you're saying.
Results driven.
Yeah, well, you gotta
Data.
look at, you gotta have some. It's both.
But that's
qualitative.
why I like think sometimes, especially with like the music industry, you gotta have some of the artistry side because when you are so full business, it like there have been times where we either didn't get a song out in time or like something was held back because we were talking about like the song working. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
there does have to be a point where you're just releasing your art and hoping people fuck with it. And
Well, it's
that's
balancing that
being
and just
organic.
being sustainable.
It's the
That-
it's
yeah.
the math and art. That's really
Yeah.
what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
If
It's
you
a
can
good way.
strike a good balance, it's beautiful.
Yeah. And obviously, if you get to a point where you're like popping, you can just do
Just do whatever the fuck
Put
you
up.
want.
Yeah,
Crowd
yeah.
control.
Like we talked about, who is it?
Paige is like, fuck you, I'm
who is
using
the
my
person
layout.
we were-
It's so funny.
That's what I feel right now.
When
fuck
it comes
you.
to composition stuff, like especially lately, I'm like, I don't care. Like I'm like, forget Spotify. But then there's this songs
Random
that I
shit
have
like
that are
that giveaway though. Like that
Yeah.
giveaway, some random shit that if somebody's stuck with a theme, it's like, all right,
You
it's
can't.
gonna
I guess
work.
you can't. I guess you can't post the giveaway and get
But it
10,000
work-
followers
yeah.
real quick. You know,
Giveaways on
No,
brand
no,
with us.
but
We do like
we,
like lots of fun stuff with our
Yeah.
fans. all the
That's why I
time.
said we just have multiple sides because I have this artistic side where I just want to be like weird as fuck, and then I have this side where it's like all these radio songs I'm like are composed exactly how you'd hear anything on the radio or whatever.
Hey Alex, can we get a time? What's the time run on this guy? I get a bad sense when we're just chatting here. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's been. It feels like it's been over an hour, but I don't.
because we're gonna run a couple more bonus questions and we run it on the audio
we-
only.
Bonus question.
Bonus questions.
You already asked one of
Secret.
them. I'm pretty sure. It's
All
the
right,
only
we'll
problem.
come up with some secret ones on the fly. But then what we do is, so we put these on YouTube, but then we say, hey, we're going to ask like 3 questions. We figure out some saucy questions, but then it's audio only. So it drives traffic back to Spotify or Apple Music
Cool.
and all that shit. And we should do a giveaway.
Yeah, we do a giveaway.
Wait, yeah, I was gonna say like we should do that thing. The whole, is this separate from the giveaway? The vocal thing you're talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
No, yeah, no, we think that's dope. You just spoiled the surprise. I'm just kidding. No, fucking. No, but.
Oh, haha, you can cut.
What are we at right now, Alex?
I think we're just showing 22 right now. We're just see the full.
Wait, what? What do you mean 22?
He's looking at the wrong number.
You're looking at the wrong thing, then, man.
It's okay. We can just go into the ending segment.
Yeah, it's.
He's
it's
like,
been,
this has not been recording the whole
it's
time.
no, it's.
People aren't gonna be mad because you didn't do that.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's yeah, it's been at least an hour, I think.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Sweet. So I guess we'll do 2 things. One, let's quickly not quickly. I want you guys to dive into you guys for a little bit. Like, I know you got some upcoming stuff you probably want to talk about, releases. Like, what do you want everybody kind of think about for coming up for Bonnie X Clyde?
I think that a lot of the music that everyone loves from us is what it is, but we're going in a different direction, like with our next couple releases, which I think people are going to enjoy. We're just getting a little more mature with our sound, and I think really finding what we both like together finally, and like making that. And so I think we're going to not be surprising people, but it's definitely going to be different from what we've been. We've been a little more like fun-loving, poppy.
And you're gonna feel more consistent music.
Yeah.
Just like more consistent with like consistent feel, because we kind of like now feel like we know exactly what we want to do on a sonic level and just in general.
We're like the best version of ourselves right now, like about to start this new.
Like I feel like it's just getting started. Like all that stuff was just like the prequel, or like the
It really was while we're
Chapter
young.
one,
Like it's like
chapter-
the
you know,
first.
I think even from outside of music perspective, I'm like excited for like what does you guys' show look like in 4 years?
I know.
Because I feel like they've leveled up so much.
Yeah, you guys sound
3
like
years.
you're gonna have your own festival. The way you think about
No, we're definitely
show
that's definitely
experience.
part of the
It's
plan.
definitely-
You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
in my head, I'm already thinking, I'm like, oh, they think a lot about.
We're gonna do it in Virginia. We're gonna do it in DC, Atlanta, Orlando, and Dallas. It'll be like that's like the goal. And
We're talking
do it,
with our
like,
dads
4
already.
weekends in a row at 1 month, and like have it like
Damn.
That
Yeah.
would be so
Yeah.
sweet, man.
yeah, that's kind of
Our last names together might be the name.
yeah. We don't know what the name is.
You
but
guys
we'll
will
figure it out.
have a long list and talk
Yes.
about it for a while. It might pop into Daniel's head or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I got it.
Wait, I want to tell them the maybe name, but can we?
Whatever you want,
It might be called Litsky.
because
Litsky?
she's Lipinski and I'm Lipman.
That's cool.
So it's called Litsky.
Yeah,
No,
Litsky's
that's-
catchy too.
And like,
Yeah, it's its own word.
it's going to be lit.
Just run
So,
it. I think you should run that. We'll play back this clip when it goes.
Perfect.
yeah.
Where it came from. Cool. So all right, let's do a giveaway. You want to do the same thing or?
Yeah, we usually do like 5 Cymatics gift cards.
Yeah, 5. Was it $200 gift cards?
I think we did.
5 $100.
Yeah.
All right, we're doing $500 Cymatics gift cards. All you have to do is comment below this video and say what was your favorite spot. Timestamps obviously help. I was looking for what camera. I was like thinking about which camera I was on. I was
You're
like,
on
oh,
that one.
yeah. By the way, we use that to then find the little clips for later for Instagram. And
So we don't
everybody's like,
actually have to find them ourselves. We
Yeah.
we get everybody to help us.
got
Like,
it.
Great.
what if everybody's saying like, oh, when Paige talked about that thing, it was really sick, or when
Yeah.
Daniel was talking about
Yeah.
production, this.
That's cool. That's
you know,
great.
and we just
And then it
take
can be
those.
like, oh, I remember where we were talking. It was like right here.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, and we got our secret questions coming in, so the YouTube episode is about to cut.